Hello, Tomasio here, coming from returning from to see Pope Francis in Washington D.C. Major theological bombshell when Pope Francis chooses to use Thomas Merton as the example of the top Catholic theologian from America instead of Scott Hahn. So a lot of us were shocked, when he put Thomas Merton forward, because what we had been taught about Merton was that he converted to Buddhism and God electrocuted him in the bathtub. That's how he died, because he got so far away from Christianity. At least that's what his accusers said. Now, I have no idea what happened. I know he was electrocuted to death, by accident in a bathtub. But the bottom line is the Pope put him forward, and he's just the opposite of Scott Hahn. Merton's going to make people say, hey, other religions are experiencing God, Buddhism especially. There's Buddhist monks. They're definitely channeling some spirit, and they're nonviolent and seeming to be very loving people. So, I'm just saying the Pope to put Thomas Merton out there as someone who was willing to go further, willing to investigate, to explore. He was an explorer, so he was a Catholic explorer. Now, so for him to put Merton out there, who, as far as I could tell, he was not, putting the Blessed Mother out front, but so anyway, this is shocking to me. This is shocking, and I believe the Pope did it with much thought and reflection, because I think what he's saying is that the theology, during the Scott Hahn era, has become very Catholic-centered, Rome sweet home, and it's really sends the message that you don't come to Rome, you're not home. And the Pope's going in the opposite direction here. The Pope's saying, no, people from different religions can have some truth. They can add something to the discussion, So, and God's not limited. Don't kid yourself. God's not limited to, if a good Buddhist, never becomes a Christian in this life, God's not going to send them to hell. I mean, because if he lived for God, for, pro-life, basically, if he was pro-life and he loved his neighbor as himself, then, I'm not saying the guy's getting right into heaven either, but I'm saying that God's going to somehow give him that opportunity to, meet Jesus Christ. So anyway, Merton was definitely an interesting choice. So I think it's just confirmation, and I told you before, Scott Hahn's a great guy, but the direction that he's taking the theology in is got to be, people got to go the other way with this thing, because the Catholic Church has too many sins, really. I mean, and anyone who's like, oh, go ahead and list them. Right? If you're at a point where you have to say, what sins are you talking about? Then you are so far from the truth. It's not even funny. Okay, so Anyway, that's pretty much the update. Tomasio coming back from DC with the Pope and his choice of Thomas Merton.